At the Kennedy Centre in Belfast after a weigh-in of Tyson Fury versus Kevin Kingpin Johnson. First of all, we're here with Peter Fury, the trainer of Tyson Fury, and Tyson looks in immaculate condition. He seems to be getting better and better as every fight goes on.
You know, he's getting better. His confidence is going through the roof. His conditioning is way better. You know, for Rogan, we stripped him down. I think he was like 17-4. You know, on the next fight against Matt Alone, he came in at 17-7, and on this time, like you said, he's 17-10, which for a guy at 6'9", he's on his peak weight. That is his exact body weight. So he's 8.3% body fat. And you know, a lot of people think we may be taking our eye off the ball and concentrating too much on his condition.
Right, okay.
You know, that's certainly not the case. We've worked on a hell of a lot of technique, skill, footwork, slipping, feinting. You know, because I like the old style fighters going back in the 90s when boxers could fight. So it's going to be intriguing for me to see Tyson perform in the ring like he's been doing in training and sparring.
Yeah, well, with this fight, you've had a number of opponents drop out. Has that been infuriating or distracting in any way?
You know, it's not distracting for us because I train my fighters. You know, we're prepared. You know, we've had a 4-month training camp. You know, we've had sparring 3 times a week, you know, for a solid 4 months. Various fighters, tall fighters, short fighters, you know, you name it. You know, we've tried every style. We got Malik Scott over because he's got a slippery, lean-back yank style, you know.
Yeah.
And, you know, he poses no problems whatsoever. So we're anticipating, I think what Johnson's expecting, he's expecting to try and put what we call controlled aggression on Tyson, where he's trying to draw Tyson out to load up with his shots.
Yeah.
You know, that's not going to happen because Tyson's a technician in that ring, and you know, that's what he's learned his trade very well.
Well, I have to say, under your guidance in his last couple of fights, we have seen a marked development in both his technique and his physique. Can you take much credit for that?
Well, yeah, you know, Tyson's been all over the world. He's trained with some world-class trainers, to be fair. And you know, you've got to know your own. You got to know your own fighter. And the trouble with Tyson in the past, people was telling him this and telling him that and telling him, oh, you know, big guy, future championship of the world. You know, he brought me along to one of his training sessions, and I said, to be honest with you, I said, it's all rubbish to me. I said, you got no footwork, there's nothing happening. I said, and these people's blowing smoke up your ass. I said, you know, get a reality check. I said, because you're only going to go to a certain level. I said, you need to step up, train right, and live and breathe boxing, which in the past, he has not done that. But, you know, and no discredit to other trainers. You can only train a fighter that's 100% willing to do it.
Yeah.
But
there's two people in it.
Yes.
Yeah.
But I think what a lot of people don't understand is Tyson's got to be in a happy place. And to train hard and put all your life into something, you've got to be in a comfort zone as well.
Yeah.
You've got to want to do it. And, you know, he believes in me and I believe in him. And, you know, he's doing wonders, the kid.
So you've finally got Kingpin Johnson in the ring. Highly ranked opponent, credible, decent credentials, a large win record, and he's known over this side of the ocean as well. And well, you must have been happy to get a decent opponent because, you know, after a few had dropped out.
You know, we've been criticised in the past about Tyson taking on not too good of opponents. But, you know, this kid's fought, I think, up to now, 5 unbeaten champions.
Yeah.
Along the route.
Yeah.
So we don't listen to the criticisms, but we're happy with Johnson because a lot of people pulled out.
Yeah.
Now, you know, everybody wanted to fight Tyson Fury when he could see he was in an all-time low.
Yeah.
People was in the papers saying, oh, you know, I could drive a car through a wall.
Yeah.
To seeing the shape he was in, you know, he had a knockdown, he was walking into punches blind. So everybody wanted it. But when we first mentioned Tyson Fury to these ranked contenders, they're up for it. They're up for it in 2 minutes.
All right.
But then when they check into it and look at the DVDs and his last fights, then they're pulling out.
Right.
Because they realise it's not the same Tyson Fury coming through the ranks. And what they've got to realise is this: at 6'9", Tyson's a kid. Yeah, and he's only coming into his own now. Yeah. And you know, in a professional sport, kids has got to go up. They've got to feel the way through. And Tyson's had some hard knocks on the way. You know, when he had 6 pro fights, he fought John McDermott, who was twice a British challenger, who'd had 30-something fights, you know, a veteran in the game. So he's learnt the hard way. But if he can achieve what he can achieve, unfit and undedicated, and not trained properly,
what can he do when he is?
What can he do when he is? And this is what we're seeing now. He's on the world stage. We believe he's a world-class fighter, and we want world-class people to prove it, because if Tyson's going to progress and get to a world title, then we need 50-50 fights to see exactly what he's about and stepping up. And Tyson's ready to step up now, so it's a brilliant fight, and we thank Kevin Johnson for taking the fight.
What should we expect from Tyson tomorrow? Because he came with a little bit of a surprise last time he was in Belfast.
Yeah, you know, I think Tyson's going to be relaxed. He's going to look to find his way. He's not going to rush anything. He's going to work behind the jab. You know, he's going to find his way in, because a world-class opponent, somebody as slippery as Johnson, you just can't draw her off and pot shot and hit Johnson with one shot. Yeah. It's not going to happen. So it's like, more or less, how can I put it? It's like chopping a tree. Small chops at the time, and eventually I think the pace and the boxing and the speed of Tyson will get to Johnson. And, you know, Johnson will be lucky to make the end.
Well, thanks very much for talking to us. We'll catch up with you again tomorrow, Peter.
It's a pleasure. Anytime. Cheers. I'm glad to be in Belfast.